just look up there, that's the missus coming over here without the goat. So that's a great start, talking about goats, isn't it? Goat's gone round the island, so I've got to go and get her. I'm going to leave the camera with Toon to start this video off. It might be a bit colourful, we'll wait and see. She's just said she wants to sell her.
I'm not chill enough to stalk her, street mouth her camp. Only Lee can do that. They're clever thing. They really are. They just keep piss you off because they are clever.
Dr. Doolittle got nothing on me.
Dr. Lee. Only him can street mouth the goat.
Yeah, that's it. You calm down now.
I don't fucking think so.
You went quite far, didn't you, in the sun? Still, she's back now, isn't she?
Yeah.
Good old Blackjack.
She gone first.
Right, so.
How many? 50, 58, 59 girls we got?
Yeah.
She gone first. Not go on a pan. Go to next the owner.
I mean, Shitty Dave's going next.
Not mine.
Right, so the first thing we'll talk about is, are goats clever, or stupid, or silly, or a little bit of everything, or what?
Oh, they everything.
Everything.
They do whatever they want. Same that fucking Blackjack. She know where to come here every single day.
I don't think they're that clever.
I
wouldn't say they're stupid, but I think they're just sneaky. So they can be infuriating, and you know, you think every day they're let out and they come to this same bit here, or you know, this is one of 2 or 3 places that they come to.
I fucking need my donkey, yeehaw, to chase them.
Oh, you're going to be like a cowgirl, but riding a donkey. See, you can laugh about it now.
I'm not brave enough to go on a horse.
Horse is a bit big for you, isn't it?
Donkey that do me.
So, they do learn quite quick, goats. It's just that with them being sneaky, if they get a chance to go somewhere new, off they go. And if you're not on the ball, then you've got a bit of a chase on your hands. That's it. You can have a very, very quiet goat initially, but once they've had their first kid, then they can turn into like a live foghorn, and it goes straight through your ears. I think with the goats, they seem to be always challenging the boundaries, and not just your fence boundaries, but on what they can get away with. Right, I think Toon's had too much sun. She's running a bit of a temperature, so we'll get in the shadow. So is Coffee still your favourite goat?
Yeah.
Is she? BB's not my favourite goat anymore, because I thought she was going to have about 4 kids, but she only gave 1. Although Boston was a brilliant goat that she gave birth to. I'm not sure now.
Coffee's still my angel, she did.
Yeah. I really like Heidi, but she's still a bit too young, so can't really say she's my favourite. I think it's still Brownie. She's a brilliant goat, isn't she? She never gives us any trouble.
Think so?
Yeah. Well, they always give you
that
a bit.
That means you fucking lie on a video if you lie that.
Well, they all give you a bit of trouble.
I think they give you.
Brownie's a good girl.
Penis.
What?
I mean, piss off. They give you piss off.
I'm going to have to take all your swear words out for this.
Look at that sky. Show sky.
Yeah, it's on the video, isn't it?
Beautiful.
We've got 58 goats, split into 2 herds at the moment, because these are the small ones and young mums, so they can't go back in with the breeding buck, Mr. Bullseye. So they're over here for quite a while, which has increased our workload. So, how is our day, goat work?
You enjoy with them, but it's fucking hard for real. You got 8 hours per day. But we work 15 hours a day. Soon you open your eye, it's a go time. Hard. It's hard.
So what's the first thing we do then?
Open the gate. Go back, drink coffee.
Well, that's not really working goats, is it? Opening the gate and drinking coffee.
Yeah. Sweep the shit off the house,
Yeah.
off the floor. Yeah.
Give the milk to the boys, the 3 young boys.
Check them. Anyone get sick or anyone healthy or anyone silly or anyone clever? Nearly 24 hours you have to keep eye on them. Ear on them. Make sure they give birth and we can hear it.
That's right. We had a trapped hoof this morning. First one in the big goat house, wasn't it? So we had to go running out of there. I wasn't sure if it was one of them going into labour or a trapped hoof, and it was a trapped hoof. So if there's a little nook or cranny they can get their hoof in, they'll get it in there eventually.
Stay for a long time. How long, how many months they're on that house now? Never problem. But it's today. If you not hear them, we might got 3-legged goat. A lot of people like that, isn't it?
A lot of people lose one leg, yeah.
They'll how far goat, what you call, tooth down
Hoof.
in a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, if their goat house is too far away from where they sleep, then they don't hear them crying, and then the foot or the leg swells up, and quite often you have to amputate the leg.
Have to cut the leg off.
Yeah. So thankfully, we've always been here to react quick enough. We have got Natasha at the moment. Toon had to do a splint on her. She did a full Matrix movie manoeuvre and twisted her leg. So Toon had to do a vet bit on that. It's still quite swollen, bless her. She's still eating well. She's a good goat, isn't she? This is another thing, you've got to get used to fixing your own goats. If you call the vet every time there's a problem, you're going to lose so much money. And of course, sometimes the vets are so busy, they can't come out the same day that you call them. Now, we've got about 40 rye that the goat, well, 35, 40 rye that the goats can eat on here. But they're not out on that pasture all day long. So quite often, they're back at the house. We don't always lock them back in the house. So the big goats are on the island and the small goats are in this enclosed pasture here. So they can always find food all day long.
But they don't, because they strike. They want to get out.
They do strike. So that's another thing. They get used to coming out, and it's a bit of an adventure. And of course they can pick and choose what they want to eat. They've all got their own favourites. So that is a bit of an issue. Goats will generally eat almost anything, only if they're forced and they're really hungry. So if they're given the choice, there's loads of stuff that they don't eat. There's a lot of stuff that they don't particularly like.
Who say grow the goat easier than cow or buffalo? I don't think so.
Don't you? Well, you haven't grown a buffalo or a cow, so.
Because ear, you have to open in it for them. Soon they're sick or they sneeze, you need to know how to fix them straight away before they go word and go to another.
That's right. So you've got to get used to diagnosing what's wrong with them and then give them the appropriate medication. Some things you don't actually medicate for. So this last batch of goats that we got, 20 goats, we bought them from a fellow goat farmer where we'd bought 3 previous goats, and they've probably been the 3 best goats that we've ever bought, the initial ones, but we trusted them on this lot, and when they turned up, they delivered them for us. They all had a bit of a cold. These are the young girls, aren't they? And we thought, oh well, that'll be all right. It's just that you know, they just need a flu shot. So that was the first thing. First day, all had their flu shots, vitamin and iron, and they seemed to pick up straight away. And then within about a week, we noticed that there was a scab on one of their mouths, which wasn't there when we first got them. So Toon thought straight away, oh bloody hell, it's foot and mouth, we're going to lose the whole lot. Had a look online, started reading up, and it's sore mouth disease, which is quite common in livestock. it's not fatal at all. I suppose the best way you can describe it is a cold sore. And the way it spreads from goat to goat is when the sore dries up or flakes off, comes into contact with the other goats, that's how they get it. So you can vaccinate it against it, but that's, well, nearly all the experts or experienced goat farmers say don't do that. Just let it go straight through the herd, go from one to the other. Don't treat it unless you get a secondary infection, and let it run its course, and then they'll build up their own immunity to it. So that's what we've been doing with them. They also have had a bit of an eye infection, looks a bit like conjunctivitis, so we've been cleaning their eyes in the mornings and putting eye drops in there. I don't know, it's difficult to say, isn't it, because their mouths were okay, so there was no real way of telling that they had the mouth issue. But they all had a cold. Now ours have had colds before, our big ones, and as soon as you've given them a shot it all clears up, and that has cleared up. So I don't know whether we should have said yes or no, to be quite honest. We got them at a good price, and they're good goats. It's just that they're a bit under the weather. So a quick learning curve, and like I said, you really need to get yourself online and diagnose these things as quick as possible. So he's back in now, Dave. He's a bit naughty. He does know his name now.
And when anyone start new goat, when you go buy the goat, one thing, don't believe them when they say, oh, when they give second birth, we don't have to take care of them because they found they know how to give birth.
So a new nanny,
Not
never
really
given birth
often.
before, it is of course very, very important to be there with them because they don't know what's going on. But likewise, even with the nannies that are experienced and given birth once or twice before, you've still got to be there just in case there's a complication. Or sometimes the mum may well reject the kid and not give them milk. That's the next thing when you get a goat birth and they just won't take to the booby, or the mum won't let them on the milk. You've got to be able to step in.
What, this one?
And help them.
Or tequila? Hey!
That's Clover.
Clover.
Now, although I said goats aren't clever, you can teach them. So when we first got this lot and first started letting them out, they were nibbling on the palms. So I thought, well, if you keep them away from them, they're never going to learn that they're supposed to be off the menu. So we've got these, what I call sacrificial branches down here, and you can see that it's in a bit of a sorry state, and we don't let them nibble them, but because the goats are quite small, they can't get into the fresh lush stuff in the middle, so we just let them sort of like bite on that until we can get over to them with the naughty stick, give them a shout, and normally just the noise from the stick hitting the ground behind them. Some get a tap on the backside if they think they can get away with it and carry on. So yeah, you can teach them, but what we've noticed is after a heavy rain, or if you're not around, if you're not looking and paying attention, they will go on it. So they say along the road here, they know they're not allowed to walk along the road, but I can guarantee if I turned and walked sort of like 20 yards that way, by the time I get to the corner there and turn round, there'd be at least one goat on the road. So they're always watching you as well as looking at the food and what to eat next. So they are very, very sneaky. We've given all 58 goats names, even the boys that are destined to be sold on to the food market. Easy to remember. The secret is, if you love your animals, you can remember their names. So it's 58. I can just rattle them all off, no problem at all. I'm not showing off, it's just, you know, you're with them so many hours a day. So we got Gypsy, Lucky, Blackhead, Daisy, Two Socks, Blackjack, PJ, Natasha, Roger, you got Tequila, Leo, Jackpot in the background. Yeah? Has it? Toon's just said she's seen our first flower on our palm nut oil trees. Oh, that's fantastic news. We've got clover at the front here. Star, Shitty Dave behind her. We've got Target there. Over the far side you've got Hoover, Daisy, Chestnut, Spud, Jingles, Sprout, Hoover and Cleo. Because they've all got their own characters, and you know, obviously you're interacting with them and that, and handling them when you're doing shots and checking them over, like, and washing their eyes and giving them drops and stuff, so it's pretty easy. Oh, and over in the sugarcane is Jasmine. She likes a sugarcane. So you do build up a bond with these animals, but a lot of people have been saying, well, you know, it makes it more difficult when it's time to get rid of them. Well, even if you give them a number and you put like a number disc on their ear or something like that, we would still care as much. So giving them names is easier to talk to each other about which goat. So if I went into the house and said, oh right, okay, oh, I'd forgotten Onesie. I said, oh, if Onesie's eye's bad again, we need to go and give her some more drops. Toon will know exactly which goat I'm talking about, rather than me trying to describe the goat or say who the mum was or something like that. No, I don't think it makes it any more difficult to sell them on when the time's right. At the end of the day, it's a business, and although you care for them, we know full well that eventually all of them will get sold or eaten. Oh, I want to go and look at me palm flowers, but it'll have to wait till after the goat video. I've got a question for you, missus. Quite a difficult one. How did you feel when you saw our first goat that died? How was that?
I don't know how to say. Hard to say. I can't say I'm not upset. I do upset, but I can't be like super cry and painful, because we're not really friendly together for long, because we got them not long, innit?
Yeah, it was Smiler, wasn't it, the first one?
Smile, there's absolutely nothing we can do. Can't run around and see the 10 speed by and pick her up and suck poison off her like a snake, innit?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the thing, something you can't. Hey!
You know what I was just saying about naughty goats when your back's turned? Star is in the road. And what they also do, she will stay there until Toon gets into about smacking distance, and then she'll go. She's still there. Yeah, her bum's still sticking out. She'll go in a minute, going. And away, just before she could get her tail. I don't know how they do it. So they let you get right in within striking distance, or naughty stick distance, and that's it. They're just a quick flick of the hoof, and off they go. We have had other deaths on the farm. One stillborn. It was from a very old goat that we bought. Perhaps we shouldn't have bought her. Obviously, it comes with experience. You know, she was a huge goat.
You talk about Jumbo?
Yeah, Jumbo.
That's sad.
It was very, very sad. She gave us 2 girls. Well, she just got the little one. She just wouldn't drink to start with, would she? And her mum had no milk, and that's probably why you shouldn't really get the old girls. A lot of them haven't got the milk for them.
Yeah.
And after she'd given birth, a couple of days later, she just passed. She just had nothing left in the tank, did she? She just passed it, really. Yeah, one was stillborn in the bag, and the other one, we were struggling to get her to feed. Then we got her to feed. Quite embarrassed to say, but I'll be honest about it.
Yeah, we're watching TV and let her under blanket, but somehow, innit? She
just got cold, and we just left it too long to try and warm her up. We thought, bring her in the house, because obviously her mum wasn't up to looking after her, and she had no milk for her. So brought her in the house, got her a little blanket in the cardboard box, and put her on the floor next to us while we were watching a TV. We were just sort of like looking at her now and again, and then movie finished, went to check on her, and she was like a block of ice. And she wasn't where the fan was getting her, because we normally have the fan running, but it just must have been because the air was circulating in there, and she must have found a draft somehow. And we tried for, I don't know, about an hour to warm her up, but it was too late, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's not easy. It's really, really not easy. You think you learn enough, but you're not.
Yeah. I think the main thing that came out of that whole sort of like 24, 48 hours was don't buy old goats anymore.
Yeah. When I say we spend about 15 hours to the goat, I think I'm wrong. I think 24 hours. Even we go to bed, we still open our ear for them.
That's right. Sometimes you've got to react so quickly. So what did we do with the dead goats then, Mrs?
Smile, we eat them.
Smiley we ate because she was a good size.
Yeah.
The two.
And she not got chemical in body.
That's right.
2 young kids, we not eat them. When they too nip, innit? They just a bone and skin.
Yeah, there's nothing on them, is there?
Nothing on. But my brother quite moan because he says number one yummy, soft bone. You can eat whole goat, is it?
Mm.
But we don't know about that. And I just thought we make mistake, innit?
Mm.
They die because we're not good enough.
Yeah. We didn't eat the mum, so there was all that meat lost. That was, well, why didn't we eat her? Because that would have been a real good feed.
We just give her injection.
Yeah.
What pen dye step, whatever you call, for not infection. What is it, like antibiotic for her?
So we'd given her a vitamin shot, an iron shot, and an antibiotic as well. And
she not make it, and we can't eat her.
Yeah, how many days is it after you give them the shots you can't eat them?
23rd day.
21 days before you can eat them, so it's something you have to be wary of as well when you sell into the meat industry. They don't want them if they've been given a shot, but they take your word for it that you haven't given them a shot. So I'm pretty sceptical about the meat that you buy, guys. So just be careful that.
Don't gamble.
Yeah. So whatever chemical you pumped into them, you know, you would be eating that.
If you give the shot to the goat and you sell it, if someone die by that, it's your fucking fault, isn't it? You can't just want money just for that. Hoover! And Blackjack.
Well, Blackjack's already on your shit list. Yeah, that moody walk. Hoover won't move until she's in striking distance. She even comes further out just to really get you going. Once you break into a run, that's it. Gone. We utilise the goats for locating wasps' nests because wasp grubs are really good fishing bait. So quite often when they go into like a long grass, and certainly drying grass and underneath tall grass and stuff, it creates sort of like a good structure for wasps. So if you ever see a goat jump out and snort a little bit and scratch the nose, you know there's a wasp nest. So we just mark where they are, or I normally do. Then I go back to the house and tell Toon the location, rough location and where the stick is, and then she goes and sprays or burns them out and collects the wasp nest, and then we got all our bait ready for fishing. Another mistake we made. We're not painting a very good picture, are we? But let's, you know, you learn from these mistakes. We did cock the quarantine up a little bit. So before we moved our goats from the first goat house over onto Goat Island, Blackjack and PJ both gave birth. So we kept them in house number 1 and we moved the rest over there. Then Hoover gave birth to a set of twins, twin boys. So we moved her back over there. So we had the 3 girls, 4 kids, and we also had Shitty Dave and Smiler there. So we thought, right, that's going to be our nursery, our creche. Then a few days later we got the phone call with an opportunity to get these 20 girl goats almost ready for stud. So we're like, yeah, we'll have them, because say it was what we thought was a trusted source. They bought them, and we thought, they got a bit of a cold because the rainy season was upon us. So we thought, well, we can sort that out. They said they hadn't given them a flu shot. We thought, well, we'll just give them vitamin I and a flu shot, and we're good to go then. Everything else looked fine on them apart from a bit of conjunctivitis. So we took a gamble, put them over there, and then sure enough, a few days later they all picked up. All the flu symptoms had gone. Their eyes seemed to clear up a little bit, but then this scab appeared, and it just ripped through the whole lot of them. They've all had it now, even the kids. We didn't do the quarantine quite as robust as we should have done. Again, lesson learned. We won't be buying any more goats now anyway. Maybe in the many years in the future we might go pure breeds. I don't know, but at the moment we're happy with the direction we're going in. You know, they are for the meat industry. Any good bucks, then we'll grow them on a little bit bigger, and we'll sell them on as a breeding buck. So we shouldn't be getting any more new goats. We're just going to keep the best of the best. It'll be like Top Gun goats, Top Gun goat farm. If you're thinking about getting some goats, you need to enjoy sweeping up and sweeping up black jelly beans. They don't have crap everywhere. I don't mind sweeping up, and jelly beans are my favourite sweets anyway. So sweeping up goat poo, I find it not a chore at all. Making sure they've all got the water, of course. We put EM Pro in there, which is like a healthy bacteria. Think of it like a Yakult type additive that you put to the water. We also give them a bit of a boost sometimes, and liquidize fresh aloe vera gel that we grow organically out here on the farm. Any lesions, cuts, scratches, that sort of thing, wipe that on it as well. Sometimes we use betadine to get it cleared up, and then we got antibacterial gel which we put on. That seems to handle most stuff. You've got to get used to giving your animals shots. You might think, well, if my goats are all nice and healthy, sometimes they look healthy, but they could have internal parasites. Most goats have got internal parasites, certainly if they're out on pasture. When they're out on pasture, certainly around here, and I suppose in most places, you should really stay with them, because even if you've got a nice goat-proof perimeter, there's still predators out there. You know, you've got snakes here, we've got monitor lizards, but dogs are probably the biggest issue here. We've had to chase dogs off a few times. 2 main concerns really for us, daily concerns: making sure your goats are fed well enough and keeping them dry as well. If they get wet and cold, they go downhill very quickly. So you'll get something like ringworm, which a few of us have had. That's not a parasite, it's just like a fungal outbreak. It forms like a ring, usually on their ears. They'll lose the hair overnight, and it's probably just the size of your thumbnail. Some are smaller. So you betadine them and then put a cream over the top of them. Generally sorts it out. But the best thing by far is get them out in the sunshine. The hotter and drier it is, the healthier your goats will get. Their coats or their furs go super shiny and smooth. But once it's the rainy season, they get runny noses, a bit of a sneeze, their coats go a bit dull, all that sort of thing. They start scratching sometimes, which is a telltale sign of parasites. So you've got to keep on top of your parasites. Try and rotate them on the pastures. We don't shower our goats. A lot of people in Thailand wash their goats, but that's usually people that just keep them locked up in houses all the time. We don't. Same when I used to have a dog in the UK. Never used to wash the dog hardly ever. It strips all their natural oils off their skin and they can get eczema. We've just noticed little Clover walking away down the road. What happens is it's either they want to eat something a bit more tasty, and they know where it is, or they're full, or it's starting to rain and they want to get back to the house. If it starts raining heavy, you get a tsunami of goats and you've just got to try and keep up, which isn't easy in your slippy flip-flops. And usually you don't have to worry about stragglers. Once they realise they're being left behind, they'll cry and leg it to catch up. But some of them do.
They don't cry.
Scream.
They scream.
But some don't mind their own company, and they'll stay there as long as there's food there that they enjoy. All right. Okay, we've got a AWOL goat herd. So Toon will get the straggler. She'll bring them up to here, and I'll get the other side of them there. What you don't want to be doing is running after your goat herd. If you don't get it quite right, they'll all fragment, and you'll have 4 or 5 goats in each group going all over the place. And once they get spooked, it can take a little while for them to calm down. So although it's not easy sometimes, if you can remain calm and don't exceed like a power walk speed, then you should be all right. What is truly amazing, well, I find amazing about goats, are the nanny goats, and how trusting they are of you. Well, all bar one so far that we've had. Jessie, that was the headbutting incident, but they are so cool mothers, and they let you help, but actually they look for help off you more often than not, and they are expecting you to step up to the plate. So if you're a little bit squeamish and you don't like blood and guts, it's the screams when they're giving birth. It sounds like someone's trying to cut their neck. It really does pull the old heartstrings when you're new to it. So you've got to get your head round that, and once you do, hey, Gypsy, hey! Once you're on board with that, then you're in for a real treat. And to me, it's the highlight of goat farming. To be let in to such an amazing event is just incredible, and you are really hands-on with them. A couple of times, Toon's had to step in and assist with the birth, and they just let you. It's just amazing. It really is. And then, of course, once the kids jump out, making sure that they bond with the mums and make sure that they're all fit and healthy is just brilliant. Still apprehensive when you hear them going into labour. You're just hoping that everything will go right and you don't cock up. And say we did cock up on one, but all you can do is say, well, we researched it as much as possible, we've talked to lots of people about it. You're still going to make mistakes, or even like experienced doctors and surgeons and all that, we're still humans, we still make mistakes. And I think the best thing you can do is, well, what Toon and I said to each other and agreed on is, well, we'll never make that mistake again. So and never ever leave a goat during the birth. Yeah, you're there for the duration. We're both members of a Facebook group. It is a Thai Facebook group about goat farmers, and every single day there's pictures of dead goats on there. The mums, the kids, and normally it's sickness or during birth or shortly after birth. And what we found amazing is a lot of goat farmers don't actually keep their goats where they live. They're on a separate farm, and sometimes if they're expecting the goats to give birth, they'll go and stay there for the night. Otherwise, they've just got a couple of dogs there taking care. And, I'm sure there are a few goats that get stolen here in Thailand, well, anywhere in the world if you're not there. I just couldn't imagine not being on hand if the goat needs you. I'll say it could be a trapped hoof, a twisted leg, could be going into labour, they could fight. Goats fighting doesn't happen a lot. It's more of a bicker really, and sometimes it's a bit of a hulk smash in the side. But of course, if they're heavily pregnant, they can lose the baby that way as well. I would say make sure that you're within earshot and certainly running distance of your goat house. Hoover, don't think so, missus. Oi. Oh. Oi. Just because you're cute doesn't mean you can go where you want. So now we're a year into our goats, and we got quite a few. We sold our 2 bucks separately to 2 of the local goat farmers, 3 boys to the meat industry. And what's happening now, Toon posted a photograph of our twin boys from Hoover, so our first lads off Bullseye. One, I'll show you him in a minute, called Jackpot. He is a carbon copy of his dad. But we've got Target as well. He's got a similar sort of like pattern markings to his mum. So although you can see he's got a bit of Kalahari in him, he doesn't look like his dad. But he's a lovely little goat. And one guy who had Mr. Tumnus offers, when he saw Bullseye, he was like, oh well, if he has any boys and they're any good, let us know and I'll have one. So there he is down there, little Target. You want to pick him up, Toon? He's a little bit smaller than Jackpot, but he can't half trough. Target. There you can see he's a little bit scabby around the eyes. That's why we have to wash them and put the eye drops in. He did get a little bit of a scab around his mouth, didn't he? But that's all cleared up now. But he feeds well, and he's packing on weight well, and already he's got his horns coming out. He wasn't as badly as affected by the sore mouth that his brother was. This lad, because his sore mouth was pretty bad, he didn't eat any pasture for ages. It was just too painful for him, so he was basically draining his mum of milk. So we had to start supplementing his milk intake, so we'll bottle feeding him as well, just to relieve a bit of pressure on Hoover, their mum. So unlike him, Target was he was straight on the food and packing on the way, but now he's caught him up, and he even walks exactly like Bullseye, his dad. Very, very nice temperament, quite chilled. Little bit different to the other boys that we've had. They're normally like a box of frogs, the other ones, but these are pretty cool, and that's one characteristic of the Kalahari Reds. They're quite chilled and friendly. So in all likelihood, Target is going to go. We can get him in tip-top condition. We should get a pretty penny for him. We won't get him to actually breed in size. We'll let him go before that. And I think we're going to have him as backup, old Jackpot, to his dad. It's not incest, guys. It's line breeding, inline breeding. It's not inbreeding. So basically all it is he will not be able to jig his sister, and it has to be 100% sister, so it'll have to be Bullseye and Hoover again, giving birth to a girl. So although it sounds sick, half sisters, and he could even climb on his mum, which it sounds terrible, doesn't it? But it's okay for goats. So old Shitty Dave over there, definitely the most clingy out of all the goats we've had so far. Nothing particularly wrong with him at all, but no milk off his mum, so he thinks I'm his mum, and he calls me when he thinks it's time that he should be fed. We do differ on that sometimes, but he cries like a cat, and I don't really like cats, so it's probably just as well that he's going. As far as the housing goes, for us being in Thailand, obviously when it's the rainy season, your housing ideally needs to be off the floor. You've got to keep them dry. Keep the wind off them as well. So both our houses, one of our houses we've put like a green netting on the side. The new house, which is just behind the camera, there the roof comes out quite far, and it's nice and low as well, so that keeps a lot of the wind out. Don't worry about your goats getting too hot. I mean, that house is incredibly cool anyway, even on the hottest of days. We had the vet come out and he was like, don't worry about the heat, they love it. The hotter the better for them. As long as they've got clean fresh water, then your goats will be very, very safe and very happy. So just worry about keeping them warm. If they get wet and cold, that they will get sick, guaranteed. So Toon's just had a message from someone asking what miss is?
What you call? Kalahari.
Kalahari Red, yeah?
Yeah. They ask for the boy or for the girl. We not sell the girl.
What did you say about Target then?
Not yet.
Not yet. Because you don't want to sell him too cheap, do you?
Blackhead!
Right. Right. Get up. Yep. See.
Yeah.
So Target will be going eventually, we think. The only girl that we've got at the moment, born from Bullseye, is Heidi. And she's looking just as good a goat as her mum, Brownie.
She ready to pregnant soon.
Who, Brownie?
How big she are, Heidi?
Oh, Heidi's growing super fast, same as Owenetta did. So, you know, when you get a good breeding stock like that, we don't want to be selling them at all, even if it was a really good price. We want as many of those in the herd as possible. Once we reach capacity, of course, then we'll be getting rid of the... Well, I'm going to say the ones that aren't performing very well, but probably the naughty ones too, isn't it? So we've got a couple that scream too much and a little bit smaller than the others, so they might go first. We're interested to see how we get on with Cleo, and we've got another Ango goat on the island, a big one. She's very heavily pregnant. She's called Angel.
Yeah,
I know it sounds like she's a pole dancer, but she is a goat. So we're very, very interested to see how they get on. They're a lovely placid goat.
Future, we're gonna have about 500 goat.
500? Bloody hell.
With the one donkey.
So you can be a cowgirl.
Yeah. Yeehaw!
You're going to wear a cowboy hat?
Is it here?
You're going to wear a cowboy hat?
And boots.
Cowboy boots and cowboy hat?
Yeah.
Right, I'll get the donkey.
And, what is it? Bell with the gun.
Oh, the chaps. Oh, the guns, right. So we're not sure if we can get up to 500. Well, we could do. It's whether we can cope with them.
I think we take care of this first before we talk about
That's right.
500.
Still learning and...
Yeah. You learn every single day, every single minute, every single hour. Still don't know everything 100%.
Yeah. To me, the hardest bit really is this first rainy season is being ready day by day. You know, trying to get your goats full without them getting wet. So you've got to get wet, getting the food for them, and you've got to take it to them. You get a break in the weather, you've got to get them out. It is difficult. That's probably the most difficult bit I find.
I think hard for them when they new to you is hard.
Yeah, but then
fun. I don't think we got fun, but I quite enjoy to watching them eat.
Oh,
I love it. It's favorite time.
It is. To see a full goat at the end of the day makes you feel good, doesn't it?
You can sit there with the beer and watching them eat all day.
I'm not sure that's farming, is it? Sitting, watching and drinking beer, just watching goats. That's Toon's farming, is it?
Yeah.
So at the moment we've got nice weather, but this morning, straight after breakfast, we went out and we picked a load of gatin for them. So we've got a truck full of gatin ready for them later on. So the idea is each herd gets out for about 2 hours. So that means we're walking around for 4 hours with them, and then they get their treat at the end of the day. And we normally feed them late enough that they don't quite finish it before bedtime. As soon as it gets started, they go in the house usually, and then in the morning, as soon as you open the gate for them, then they've got something that they like to eat straight away. So that tides them over till you can get them out. Apart from that, that's about it, miss, isn't it? I reckon 200 goats would be enough. Maybe 250.
Whatever happened. Whatever we got.
We've got enough when Toon says, that's it, I can't take it anymore. No more goats.
You try to say fuck it. He tried to be smart, but behind camera, he fuck. Million fuck per day. Me, one.
Ah, lies.
I'm not lying.
Right, I'm going to go look at me flower on the palm nut tree. We've had quite a lot of interest from people that want to get into goat farming, and been asking about like the numbers as well, you know, with the money you make and that. What I always say to people is everything that we're doing on this farm is not short term. Nothing that we're growing, whether it be plants, trees, you know, like bamboo, the palms, you know, there's been in a couple of years, the palms, they're only just starting to flower now. The bamboo, just over 2 years now. We're eating a bit and selling a bit. There's nothing quick cash on the farm. We don't look anything short term. We're here for the long run. So when it comes to the goats, on the money side of things, not interested at all selling the girls. The girls are where you make the most money, of course, and the breeding books give you a pretty penny if you get a really good stock. But all we're doing is selling the surplus little bucklings. That's all we're doing. In the future, once we reach full capacity, then we'll start trading a few of the girls, and of course all the meat boys as well. So the future looks rosy. You can imagine you get 200 or 300 goats, and they're averaging 2 kids a year. Once you've reached full capacity, 400 goats a year, it'll be a nice. It'll give us a few beer tokens, won't it? Right, I'm not going to record it, but I need to go and check my flower on my palm nut tree.
Ta-da for now. Stay safe, guys.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Get spicy food every day to your stomach. COVID run away. No near.
Kick
Take
COVID's
care.
ass.
Take care. Bye.
Ciao,
Ta-ta.
ciao, ciao.
Ta-da, ta-ta.
Where's my flower?